Hello, everybody. So, as promised, I get back on it today. So, I managed to, since the last stream, get something printed just for testing. So, what we had yesterday was we've got our rail with our channels for our Velcro, and I'm going to take a look at the caliper cam, which is now working again. So, I printed another end piece too, just so I had one for show. I went ahead and put some Velcro on this. Actually, I ended up committing the cardinal sin of putting the wrong side of Velcro on the pedal board, but we'll live. Now, so what I've got here is that test piece of Velcro here. So that is going to go into our channels just like that, and then you can, cinch down a cable or whatever, and it should be able to hold decently well. Now, chances are you're probably going to want to bundle more than one cable, but it keeps it where it needs to be. And then that same feature works great all over the part. So that's working the way I want. One thing I mentioned I wanted to do last time, which was make some tie wrap channels, so we could add additional channels on the sides and bottom to accommodate tie wraps. So I figured I would spec out some tie wraps, and so I've got something picked out. So I found these from McMaster-Carr because you can get a pack of 100 for $3.20 unless I'm buying a lot more. But this way I could also include some tie wraps in there because maybe you want a more permanent solution and you don't want to necessarily have to go with Velcro. I'm going to give you the option either way when I make this thing. So what we're going to do is also we're gonna maybe model some tie wrap channels for this for the one that I picked. And then also I went ahead and looked up some rubber feet because I think I want to look into doing the frame today. So I want something that I can use. Hopefully I can use the same screws. So I've got like these 1032 3/4 inch screws. And so what I'm picturing is if I can also use these to go in the bottom of the frame to also screw down a rubber foot on like all the corners of this pedal board, then that would be ideal, because then I'm not changing around a whole bunch of different hardware. So I just keep the bill of materials narrow. So I actually, when I worked for 45 Drives, I designed the HomeLab server. So there's an HL15, it's like a 15 bay storage server. And we were using these feet, which is great. Now we were using 832, but they'll also work with number 10. And so we've got like, they're for cutting boards, but I can buy a pack of these, like a 20 pack for like $13. I could probably get different ones, maybe made cheaper later, but I know these are like decent quality, and they're pretty much exactly the profile that I want. Because when you come and look, we've got sort of a dimensional drawing here. What's kind of annoying about this dimensional drawing that they've got is okay, cool, I got the top and the bottom so I can tell what it's drafted by, how tall it is, but it gives us the counterbore diameter and then the through hole diameter, but it actually doesn't give us the height of the through hole. But assuming that this dimensional drawing is accurate, I can actually trace this shape in Onshape and we can just model some rubber feet really quick. So I want to get the rubber feet modeled and added to my parts library for this CAD design. And then I want to add some additional tie wrap channels into the rails, and I want to get started on the frame as well. So I'm gonna get moving on that. So I think the first thing I will do is actually just make that rubber foot. So I'm gonna make a part studio here. We'll call it foot. And so I'm going to show you a cool feature in Onshape where you can just make you can add when you import a sketch, you can also just import a PNG file or like any file, and then I can just trace that. But I can dimension it based on what's there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a sketch on this, because what I want to do is just revolve this part to have the actual, so I can sketch the profile and then just revolve it around the origin. So let's take a look. See, we can. I'm going to make a construction line first, just to get things going. And what I'm going to do is I can insert a DXF or a drawing or an image. So I'm just going to insert an image. So I'm going to import one. Now I already took a screen grab of it. Stream Designs, there we go. So I've got this rubber foot profile image. So this is just a screen grab of that Amazon listing. And then I can draw the image rectangle like so. So we've got that. Now I'm going to close this off. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to trace this shape, and then we're going to make this work because I have dimensions that I can use. So what I'll do is I'm just going to put this down here for now. So I've got construction line. I'm going to make this go here. I can put a point in the center and then make that coincident. So what's cool is because the width and height of this rectangle isn't constrained, I can actually make this guy 25 millimeters. So I can roughly align this. Okay, now I should be able to dimension this. Or we'll make it 1 inch. So what that did is just scaled everything. So there's my line there. And it scaled that image to be in the right spot. So now what I can do is I can start drawing lines for the actual shape that I want to rotate. So do that, and this. So because I don't have that dimension, it's this little line here. Sorry, not this line, but let me just finish drawing this enclosed shape. So this guy here, like where this is positioned, it kind of matters. So because that will let me know roughly like how tall is this? Is that going to be? I'm not going to have enough room with the socket head, with this cap there. Am I still going to have rubber foot left here to actually be able to use those screws? I'm hoping I do, and I think I will, but we'll find out to be sure. So so what we'll do is let's call this 9 millimeters. Okay, so we have this, and then I want this guy positioned here, which is going to be 0.9 905 inches divided by 2. Okay, so we got something like that. So it looks like this is just ever so slightly off, but I don't think it's gonna. Remember, this is CAD goggles at work here. And like, remember, this is also just like a projection of their drawing software. So we got something like that, and then we're gonna go with this guy here. 0.19 divided by 2. And then this one is going to be 0.315 divided by 2. Okay, so dimensioning the outsides of all these. So yeah, this could, I split the difference. Let's say we've got that going on there. I seem to be on the outside of this guy for the most part, so we'll leave it somewhere around there. This is also, yeah, pretty ballparky, but it should do the trick. So we know the length of this, we just didn't know the vertical position of it, so I'm just gonna dimension it, and whatever it happens to be is what it is. So that's all fine and dandy. So we should have an enclosed shape here. Why is that not enclosed? Let's find out. Okay, I've got that line, got that line. Okay, so let's try revolving this and see what happens. Yeah, okay. It is an enclosed shape, but it didn't want to show that to me. Alright, so there's our rubber foot. So I'm going to rename this guy Foot. And just for posterity's sake, let's import that screw that we were using. Sorry, I gotta put this mic a little bit closer. Yeah, so let's go into test fit rail because I have the screw in there. It's thinking. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll just transform this within this Part Studio. Transfer by make connectors. Let's go from, oops. Let's go from this make connector to this make connector. And we'll flip the axis. Ah, great. Now it is rubber, but so this is an issue. So what's really strange here is I feel like that can't be. Let me just double check. So I'm going to so it's very likely that this is not accurate because man, I modeled this based on this measured component. Like I've had it before, and I just quickly checked the CAD model that I had for that rubber foot model before, and this is not actually accurate as far as I can tell, because I quickly checked, oh, how much do I have? But anyway, well, I might be able to source another foot if this isn't going to work, because I would sooner source another foot than to actually source another screw, because I want to use the same screw and everything, ideally. But I mean, for now, that's what we have, so that's what we'll go with, I guess. So I'm glad I double checked that, because yeah, if I make this, like, I can edit the appearance here and just make it like a little transparent. I seem to remember that foot being really recessed down, but anyway. So I feel like they didn't give that dimension, but there might be a reason why. It's not actually... Yeah, like look how far down those screws are in that. Now, granted, they're using like... It comes with these like number 10 screws. Oh my god. Where is this? Yeah, so these are like number 10 screws. I just seem to... Yeah, like, I'm looking at that. That seems like below halfway to me, but... If you just go by this dimensional drawing, it doesn't appear that way. But it's not dimensioned, so... This might be just BS, who knows. Gotta love China, man. Anyway, okay, cool. So let's go... I'll just use this as my foot. I'm gonna edit the appearance of this, and... Because... I'd like to make it look kind of what it's going to look like. And then when those, because I already bought them, because I knew that they would work based on my other CAD model that I had done this, but I figured I could model it on stream because I could show you how to pull in an image and then do a revolve, but clearly that image is no good. But yeah, I'll update this later when I get the actual feet. But for now, it's a good enough stand-in. So we've got that. So I could add tie wrap channels to this rail. That's kind of a repeat from what we did last time. But I've got a better plan now for how I want this done. So yeah, I think I will just do it really quickly because it's not really going to take all that long. So I'm going to sketch on this. And what we'll do is we'll do a center point rectangle. So we're going to call this zip tie. I'm going to use the word tie wrap and zip tie interchangeably. Tie channel width. Yeah, width. Okay, so let's go back to this here. Now I haven't bought these, but I probably will. So what was the length is 5, and then the width is, and the thickness is, okay. So it's 0.1 inch. Oh wait, this is, so it's 0.04 inches wide. So let's just make this, I'm thinking about 3D printer tolerance, so it doesn't matter if it's a lot bigger. And then this one is a 0. So it's normally 0.1, but I'll add that. So we've got that. And then basically I want to, what I'm going to do instead of that, what we did on last stream was those big outside concentric circles and then having to like do a revolve out past this with like different planes and stuff. I'm just going to do like a little circle inside this guy. So that should do the trick. Now if I go and if I was going to make a circle, now these tie wraps, basically what I'm thinking is I sort of want it aligned with this. So I think I'm going to align that way. So then when I do a circle, it's more or less going to go, I wanted to do it about the centroid here. So let's go and make a construction line, and I can do it, I should be able to do it about the halfway point there. So now I've got a fully defined line along the center of this thing. And then I'm going to make another one of those. Yeah, I don't want it like linking to those lines. If I like, why it's linking this stuff off screen is kind of annoying. So I can disable imprinting. So that means it won't try to make those relationships. And then I'm gonna go and make this guy make those all equal, and then this one, and this one, and this one, I'll make those equal. I'm using E on the keyboard to do that, and then if I click those and hit I, it'll make them all coincident, so the bottoms are all lined up. And then, how do I want this? So I could dimension to, yeah, might as well dimension to this. I think I want it. Yeah, something like that would be good. So I'll make that 0.8 and this guy. Okay, so we've got that, and then what we'll do is we will do a revolve, and then we're going to remove the axis I want to revolve around is this and there. So now it's like cut circles into our rail side there, so we're going to remove those. Okay, so that's not too bad. And then basically I'm going to do the same kind of thing, except I'm going to put 2 down here, and then I'm going to mirror this feature about the front plane. So let's see if that works too, just so, because I'm not sure what it will try to do when I do a revolve that way. So I mean, the other thing I could do is, yeah, well, let's just try mirroring it and see what happens. So I'm going to mirror. So I want to do a feature mirror. And then the feature I want this is this. And then the mirror plane is this. Actually, that looks just fine. Okay, cool. So we'll go with that. So that has done that circle there and that circle there. So yeah, so basically we have the ability to put tie wrap through there. It's got lots of heft to it in terms of like its bulkiness. Like I've got enough filament going across this thing to make that fly. And then the only other thing I might want to do is I could do like a smaller rectangle here to go straight across, kind of how I've done with this. You see how that like cuts through that way? But with the tie wrap, I don't think it's going to matter too much. And because this is meeting tangent, it's actually not going to like put a lot of force on. Whereas this one, you can see like that arc is not a half of a circle. So that would mean that I would have all this undue stress here if I just had that little rectangle that came this way. So I think they're probably good enough for now. Certainly good enough for the stream. So I'm going to sketch on this one here. And then we're going to do one of those real quick and dirty. Would this be? It is. Okay, cool. So we've got that. And then we're going to do a similar thing to what we did before. And I might as well do that. And then equal, and then equal, and then we're going to take a look at dimensioning one of them. So that was what, zip tie channel width. Oops. Yeah, okay. And then, did I not? Actually, hold on. I may have not dimensioned the other one. Or I might have just hard-coded a dimension in. Yeah, that's what I did. Okay. This needs to be zip tie channel height. And I need to change this to there. Okay, so now I can go back to this. Yeah, because I read it off the page and I was thinking the width was the narrower of the two. Or I had it set up so that the width was the narrower of the two, but that's actually incorrect. So yeah, so I'll make this the height, zip tie channel height. Okay, and then I'm gonna put this about the center of this. So I'm gonna make this and this coincident, and then I'm going to make a construction line there, and then I'm going to position this here, and then I'll just drop a line here, and then okay, and we'll do the same for this guy here. Okay, so now I can revolve this as well. So we're going to revolve. It's going to automatically select the sketch faces of that sketch too, which is nice. And then I can just do this. And we're going to remove instead of add. So there we go. So now we have our tie wrap channels in the bottom and the sides. So that's pretty close to what I think the final rail will end up looking like. So we can call the rail done for now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to doing the frame. So let me just get a top plane going here. Okay, so that's kind of annoying. Let's take this and move. Let's move this face to here, so that because this would be like the top of the pedal board, and then everything can go down from there. So what we'll do is we will go and transform this guy. So transform by mate connectors. We can grab this one and then this one. There we go. Okay, so again, from just a recap from last stream, this is my quick and dirty rough positioning of things. Again, this is sort of floating in free space. The only thing is it's lined up with this edge and this edge are like on the same plane. So yeah, because these are stand-ins for what my frame would have. I just needed like this feature figured out so that when the rails bolt in, they can bolt in from either side, and you can cascade rails sideways as well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the frame, and I'm going to position this. I roughly test fitted this. If I make this center to center spacing, like say from the center of this rail to this rail, if I make that 3 inches, both the Boss pedal, which is sort of like the vanilla ice cream guitar pedals, and also smaller form factor pedals like my spring reverb that I did on the very first design stream, both of those are going to be satisfied. They're going to be supported on both sides, and the jacks, the input and output jacks, are going to be above this gap if I do that 3-inch one. If I make it too wide, then only the sides, like only a little bit of this would be supported. So I think 3 inches is pretty all right there. So we're gonna go with that kind of spacing. And the rest is kind of just, we're gonna wing it, because that's really what we got to do. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna make a copy of this feature everywhere that I want it on this rail. So one of the other things I was toying with, and I'm just, thinking out loud here. So I want this feature, right? Where this goes is kind of subject to change, depending on what power supply we're going to be using. So the one that I have here in this assembly is the one that I have, which is kind of a chonky boy in terms of like this dimension, so it's pretty long. A lot of them are a little bit lower profile, but maybe longer. So I want to be able to accommodate the worst case scenario, but it being chonky also works to my advantage, because if you were to go and take a pedal and position it here, when you go to hit that, like the angle that your foot's at, you're not really at risk of like bumping any of your controls on the lower tier of pedals. Oh, and then if I have this, like, let's say I just had it here, that would be totally fine in terms of its height and everything. So I can make it so that like this was, you know, aligned with this, let's say. And granted, we're gonna have these rubber feet on this thing too, right? But the spacing from here to here is 3 inches. So another thing I wanted to look at was maybe we would want to have something on the pedal board so that, so this would be like one section of rail, right? What I'm also thinking is I could make it so that, let's say we had another copy of this. So we'd have this over here. Because I think my pedal to pedal spacing, like if I did 3 inches, I think that's like a little bit overkill. You're kind of wasting a lot of real estate. This being straight is kind of annoying, but I made it the worst case scenario so that I could kind of see, oh, how bad is this going to look? And now we've got like, if this was here and we had another copy of them down here, that might be our best bet, because then you could use the same set of rails for multiple pedals. So let's say you had a volume pedal, and those are typically like twice as long as these. And then that would make it so that like you could have a volume pedal on another side piece. So you could use the regular frame, and then just put rails on the bottom sections of it. And then that might just be exactly what the doctor ordered for that. So I'm liking the idea of, you've got this, and then you have some kind of spacing here, and we can play with that. And then this from here to here is 3 inches, from here to here is 3 inches, and then you have this, but then you'd have this gap, like, well, we can fine tune it to be what we need it to be. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. But then you can also have, whoa, hello, where did you go? Get back here, little buddy. So yeah, and then we could have another one that was just up higher than that. That would be like the stepped thing. So you could use, and we could have this whole rail system have that top tier or bottom tier thing baked in. Then you get like a nice flat thing that's for your longer pedals, and then a stepped one for your other guys. And then the other thing I was thinking of is, let's say you wanted to go crazy and add another secondary feature to this. So let's say you wanted to buy, let's say I sell an add-on, okay, and it's another like section of these, and then you could bolt that on to the pedal board, and it could be like 3 tall with like 3 of those. So we could cascade those upward, but for now I want this to be basically like the main base unit, and then you can add things to that later if you want. So I think that's what we'll probably go with. So let's go with this frame. So this guy here, I'm going to transform it. And the direction I want to do is that, and we're going to do 3 inches. And I want to reverse the direction. Right? Top, front. Okay, yeah. So 3 inches. Oh. Made a mistake. So I want to copy the part. So I have more than one instance of this. Because what I will do is I will link these together and join them using extrudes and whatnot. So we've got that. So In fact, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a variable. I'm going to call this rail spacing 3 inches. And then I'm going to make another variable, and we're going to call this section gap, or rail section. Rail section gap, and let's just call that 2 inches for now. I'll change where these are defined to be above those features, and then I'll make this rail spacing. Okay, so we've got this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another one of these, transform this, and then I'm going to translate that by distance. The direction is going to be this. And we're going to switch, and then we're going to make that, oops, rail section gap. And then we're going to copy the part. Okay, so that might actually be that's 3 inches. This is only 2. So anyway, we can change what that's going to be. But then we're going to do another one of these. And we're going to transform it again. Transform this guy by distance. Direction is going to be this. And we're going to go with rail spacing. I'm going to copy that part. Okay, so now we've got those setups, and then we're going to take these two, so we're going to transform these, and we're going to move those ones up. We're going to make a new variable, and this one's going to be called rail vertical spacing. And then, so now I get to play with that, so let's just make that 2 inches. And we're going to copy those. So now that's sort of what I'm thinking is we'll have those guys linked together. And then we can play with those now that they're variables. We'll just put them here. So I'm going to like connect all these together. We're going to do that using, what's the best way? Let's just do extrudes here. Up to next. You know what? Instead of doing those, I'm going to do those as new parts for now. And then we're going to extrude this. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to want holes and stuff, but I would kind of like to know what this unit still is without having to measure it now and record it. Up to next. And then we're going to go this one to this one, extrude, and we're going to go up to next on that one. Oops. Yeah, there we go. And then this one, extrude, and then we're going to go up to next on that one. Okay, so there we go. So that's like very Lego blocky look of what this is gonna seem to be. So Now let's go back over here and we can fine tune what those distances are. So something like that looks pretty good to me. So what's this distance? 2.5. Okay. I think 2.5 is probably all right. And let's say you did have... So let's say you had the rails. Yeah, let's say you had the rails rotated around. Would that even fit, actually? I rotate that way and then flip the other way. No, it's still not actually aligning. So you could have rails here and on the top, and then the whole thing would be like pretty sturdy if you needed it that way. But yeah, I don't think we need anything like that. It's just sections for those rails to go, and then you either put them in the top or the bottom. It's up to you. So we can go with that. Yeah. So let's say though, for argument's sake, if you had, what is this distance from here to here then? 10 inches. Holy shit. Okay. So if I stacked pedals, let's go to the caliper cam here. So if I stacked pedals, I've got this guy here. Let's say I have another one there. Let's just say, for argument's sake, you wanted to have a flat section of that. So I've got this guitar pedal mounted to this, and I have another rail here. If I wanted it flat, I need to make sure that I've got the gap that I need between them. I should grab another Boss pedal just to be safe, but yeah. Is that going to interfere with the power? Let's go back. So if I've got this one, and that's why I left these ones loose. Angle. What did I do there? Let me just move this back, move that back. Okay. That shouldn't be at an angle. Okay, yeah. I somehow rotated it. I don't know how I did, but I just rotated it. So yeah, we've got this guy here. So So now I'm looking at putting these together this way. So I could bolt these on. That makes the add-on feature of, like, if you want to add another one, you can add them horizontally and vertically. So if I go and do something like that, I'm just adding a lot of hardware at that point, so I'm not super keen on that. Yeah, that could be cool, actually. So let's say I did make this, because what I'm thinking about here is so there's the build volume of my printer, and the build volume of my printer is going to be, let me move that down a bit. Is going to be a constraint in terms of, like, I was picturing doing 2 of these sections, but maybe it makes sense to just be like, this is the default unit, and then you can bolt on as needed. Then it doesn't have to be two-tiered. So if you only start off with 2 pedals, you just get this. And then you can bolt on new ones. So you can do 1-step, 2-step, 3-step. And then make them all compatible with each other. That would be ideal. And then with these, I can have them. So I'm gonna need something routed out here. Like it's not gonna just be those straight rectangles that I had here for the frame. But yeah. So let's go with the section gap. Make that 3 inches. And then now we've got that, right? So we've got this guy and this guy. So those are actually the same distance now, which would be pretty cool. So if I go back to this and I make this one, that's almost 3 there. So that seems to be like what I'd want. Yeah. So oops. Yeah, so even if I had straight through power, I've got plenty of relief to get around all of that, and then I'm in good shape. So we could do something like that. That is an option. Because what I was thinking about is like I have, if this is one unit and this is another, and then I have a section that's like 2 units tall or 3 units tall, we can go with a vertical spacing and a horizontal spacing, and then it really is a lot more modular that way. But now it's about how do I link them together, because then if I have bolted together sections that go vertically, or sorry, so I'm gonna call this up, and then toward us would be like the next step. If I've got this guy going over here, now I've only got like a joint that's not super thick. So that's the other thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is because if I went and say, like, went back to this frame here for a second, let's say I had things like that goes from here to here, I could link that together that way, or I could have one of these and then another singleton, so I could sell them in like singleton units. So you'd have different frames at that point. So then I'd have to worry about frame interoperability. But if this is just like a way to link them together, and so what I'm thinking is like the base unit is this and this and this part, these 3 together. And then also when I look at the pedal board this way, you got these cascading cables that come down. I'm gonna want to notch that out somewhat too. And then now there's this section here, so maybe because, like, do I make it so that the unit is going to be actually these 4 parts? So I'd have like all of that combined as one guy, right? So all of that is one, and then this spacing is like consistent. But I need a way to like split the difference, right? So maybe is there enough space in here to get like something like that going on, but in the opposite direction? Because then I'd be able to like thread bolts through this way and then have them come through this way. That might be the best way to go. I never even thought that would be the way I'd want to be doing this. But like now that I'm seeing, like, yeah, it's like 10.5 inches. Like I can't I can't fit that on standard build plates. Like I'm looking at, 300 millimeter, and then now the Voron's the only one that could print it like horizontally straight, which is not where I want to be with this. I want to be able to do it on the X1 carbons and the Prusas. So, and like, I want the layer lines to be like, I want it to be printed like in this orientation, right? Because then the layer lines are running horizontally this way, which gives you the most strength for when you're pushing down on the thing, because this thing needs to be rigid, right? Like, it needs to be pretty sturdy. So yeah, maybe that is the way to go. So let's say, let's say I split the difference here, right? And then I make one pedal unit thing is going to be like from here to whatever what is that distance? It's 1.48 inches, whatever. So actually I can just transform God damn it. What is this thing? Hold on. I'll just hide this. It's kind of annoying that you can't hide it from that mode. So let's just go back into here, and then I'll do transform. Let's do this. And I want to go from I guess it doesn't really matter. This one. And flip it, and then copy it. Okay. Okay, so now I've got that. And then what I'll do is I'll just sketch this. Yeah, let's just make planes. So entities is going to be this one. And then we'll go with the front plane. Okay. And then we'll do another plane. This one and the front plane. Okay. We got the midpoint there, and then I can split. There's a split feature here. There we go. Split. And we're going to split this part with this plane. Okay. And we're going to keep both sides, yes. And then we're going to split this part with this plane. This, split with that. There we go. Now I'm going to delete this part. And then, so we can go with, I'll just quickly do this here. So this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Union. And I will reorder the items so that we have the same name of the part. Is that gonna work? Done? No, it goes with the first one. Anyway, I'll just call this rename. Frame 1. We'll call that frame 1. So we've got this. So now the overall length of this is a little better. We've got 6 inches. So that's a little more doable. So we've got that. Now, if I put features in this thing where, like, in the same way that I'm like bolting these rails together, you know, like I've got something there where the rails go perpendicular. So I could perpendicularize this section in the same sort of way where these things are bolting together in this direction, and the connection it's pretty damn strong. Like, it might not be even an issue when it comes to rigidity between sections of this pedal board. And then if I'm doing it that way, I would still have those like drop-in nut slot type things that I have in the actual rails. So I could actually make this thing bolt together both sideways and front and back and left to right. So the rails are the things that let you bolt it sideways, and then the frame itself, the frame pieces can be there. So if you want like, oh, okay, I want this guy, you know, if this is your base unit, this is one, and then you can have another one that's like 2 tall. So that's probably the way to go. And then the other thing is I'd want to kind of hollow this out so I could run cables through it. But not so much that like it's weakening things all that much. So yeah, this one I'm gonna have to fart around with linking these two guys together. So I think I like that idea. And yeah, another cool thing is this Sunday so I've got like a group of friends that I jam with, and we're gonna go do this open mic thing on Sunday, weather permitting. My God, the weather is horrible in Cape Breton right now. It's just, we got so much snow. Like we have like 12-foot high snowbanks by my driveway. It's ridiculous. Anyway, it's supposed to get a shit ton of rain and stuff, but either way, if this thing isn't canceled, I've got kind of a fire under me to get a pedal board put together. Then I can do it on Sunday, because I was debating whether or not I like re-velcro my pedals, and then I was like, well, I gotta do that thing Sunday, but hey, if I can bring a prototypey one to a gig, that'd be sick, and it'd be a good way to test out how that works. Granted, I won't really have rubber feet, so I might like 3D print some feet. If I had some TPU, I definitely would 3D print some feet, but I don't have any TPU at the moment. But we have ways to figure these things out. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get off stream just for figuring this out, because that is like really tedious in terms of like getting that bolt pattern just right. But I think we might be able to like, actually, you know what? We might be able to utilize one of these. Let me just see if I can transform it real quick. Now, I know that this width is like, this is not, like it's not a square thing, right? It's rectangular. But if I translate by make connectors, and I go from here to here, and then I rotate it that way, oh, that might be good enough. That might be good enough. Let's copy that part. And then I could just like perform like a Boolean operation here. Let me just hide all these planes that I don't want anymore. Where is that? There we go. So this one, that. There we go. So this one, I can just edit the appearance of it. Oh, that's pretty good. There's definitely enough room there to make something like that work. Huh. Yeah, because let's say I've got this guy, so I've got the bolts go in here. I would have to make them angled. Would that look wonky though? If I angled it, would it look weird? To have that, like, because then you're gonna have to have this weird angled thing on the end of your pedal board. Yeah, this is something I need to. I'm gonna have to like not do on stream. It just seems like too fiddly and also like embarrassing if I fuck it all up. Yeah, maybe something like that makes sense. The other, yeah, because I've got all this is all going to be full of stuff, so I need to be able to like cleverly get bolts from one spot to another in a way that like isn't flimsy, because I really like the connection that I do have. Yeah, I could have like couplers, so I can make a coupler that links these pedal sections together, and then have the ends of the frame like come like this, and then the coupler actually, you know what, the coupler could be something like this, and then it could go down, and then the foot could have a spot to screw into that coupler, so I could embed a nut in that coupler, and then these frames just have embedded side coupling features as well. So yeah, that might be the way to go, honestly. So I'll take a look at that. But for now, like we've got our rail with some tie wrap channels figured out, which is cool. And then we've got our rubber foot, which according to the Chinese drawing is not very good. But I think the real actual candidate will work just fine. And then we've got the makings of a frame. So having started this exercise, I never thought that it would make sense to do this in subsection. I always assumed that I'd have the ability to go from here to here, but like clearly I do not, when we're talking about lengths like this, right? So if this is a base unit, I can go this way, and then I can stack that, and vertically it's not even going to stack a whole lot. So yeah, I'm gonna like take a look-see at this, and then I'll come back when I got something figured out, and then I can try doing, and then it makes the test prints of this like super quick too, and then I can have like my flat pedal board ahead of time, and then yeah, we can try that out, and then so I'll get this unitized. So this makes it a lot more modular, which is like, this is the benefit of this kind of system, is you can add onto it whatever you need, and then it's like basic building blocks that are rigid enough and sturdy enough to actually accommodate like your growing setup, and then yeah, we can just bolt on pieces as needed. I think that's kind of cool. So anyway, let me know if you think that this is a better approach than, say, trying to like make one monolithic piece. This is starting to grow on me, and whether or not like the linking of the two, like even if I had this sort of angled geometry like to link the two, I don't think it looks totally weird to have like this jutting out from like one side or the other. But what's nice is that if I make like a coupler unit, then I can put the foot, like the actual features that would hold that foot in place as part of this, and that would be sick, because then you just be able to have on the extreme ends of everything that coupler feature, and then there you automatically get 4 corners with feet, and then I can just sell like the base kit with the feet or whatever, but I can sell individual like packs of feet with the right hardware and all that stuff. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. And then you're only buying what you need, right? And then you tack it all together in a cart, and then now you can just bundle things, and that would make it cheaper. But But yeah, I like, and of course, like, I'm going to be selling the files for this, so you could then just buy them, and then whatever the hell you need, you just print that, and that's, because that would be the product I would want, is something I could buy. I could buy the files, and then maybe like I can source the hardware myself, but like maybe it's cheaper because you don't want to necessarily buy 50 of these. You know, if you want to pay less than that and the price per screw, then I can just sell you that as like bags of hardware or whatever. So yeah, that could work. So we'll go with that for now. I'm liking this philosophy to how these link together, and then I'll yeah, I just want to like poke at this alone for a bit, and then I'll let you know what I come up with. So maybe you'll see me later on today. If not, we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.